I'm confused. I'm confused. I am enjoying Paulo Costa. I find him to be an entertainer, and that isn't something when he broke into this space that he was skilled at. He is enjoying it. I mean, you want to see a charismatic piece? You want to see a star that you could put in a role in Hollywood? Go watch the organic film of Paulo Costa and Jake Shields being at the PI when Chimaev and crew comes in and starts yelling at him. I mean, the way he lit up, the way he was calling him over, the way he was being funny, the way he told the story after the fact, which it turned out he couldn't quite understand Chimaev, right? One of the reasons that Paulo looked so relaxed and so confident in that moment, he didn't quite understand what was going on. It just made the story better. He's got the secret juice. He's interesting. He was on Ariel's show yesterday wearing like an Outback Jack hat. You know, one of the one that comes down and hangs over your head. I mean, it was just ridiculous looking. He looked cool in it. He's becoming a really interesting guy. Now, where I tell you that I'm confused, I thought Paulo Costa versus Whitaker was the main event. Now, I thought that for two reasons. I thought it for three reasons. Reason number one, the first time they tried to book that fight on ABC, which ended up being Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway, to put a time perspective for you, it was the main event. And when I saw the announcement of this fight, they had a poster, and it was just the two of them. Paulo Costa and Whitaker. I thought, okay, it's going to be a main event. Now, reason number three that I thought that is I didn't connect the dots on the date and the location of Perth. I know full well Perth is champion versus champion, Islam versus Volkanovski. I know that, but I didn't connect those. So when Paulo ends up pulling out and this fight doesn't come through, I'm thinking, oh boy, what are they going to do? That card's up in smoke. And then I said, no, wait a minute. This is not the situation. Paulo Costa, when he went on Ariel's show looking like Outback Jack, said, I thought we were the main event. So there's just a little bit of room for confusion. I want Paulo to get what he needs to get to compete. I think he's meaningful. I want him in there. I want to see him. I want him to be happy. I want all of these different things. As you're attempting to balance the numbers of who should get what, who's worth, who demands, big deal where you are on the card. I mean, it really does lose some leverage when that's a fight that, by the way, wasn't even going to be a main event. Look, I had to have a very hard talk with Henry Cejudo, and I don't love doing that because I love Henry. The night that Henry walked away, UFC 246, he said, Triple C is out. Dropped the belt, dropped the mic, and walked off. Now, it was a money issue. He wanted money. As a matter of fact, 40 minutes later, he shows up to the post-fight press conference, and he says, Dana knows my number. If he hits that number, I'll be back. And the problem that I had with it, is, Henry, you were not the main event tonight. I mean, as simple as that. It's not about how many fights you won, or I got this belt, or I armbarred 3 guys in a row. Those things can all be part of the story if that makes you over with the audience. We'll talk about the fastest knockout. We'll talk about you slamming a guy through the cage like The Undertaker if that's a piece of the story that got you over. If you're not the main event, who are you coming to talk to? What are we talking about? Why would you have more money? That's rude by me. I'd tell a friend that he's not worth more money. I want him to go get the money. But if I look at a situation as an outsider and then try to predict ahead of time, is he going to get the money? If you're a co-main event, right? Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje were over you. So if we're just using logic, we can get you a raise, Henry, but we got to go to Ferguson and Gaethje first. You're going to have to wait. We're going to go in order. I can't give a co-main eventer what I'm not giving a main eventer. And I only bring it up because we have another co-main eventer, guys. We have a great fighter who's setting records, who for whatever reason is not over enough with you guys to be a main event. His name is Alex Volkanovski. And do you know what Alex says when he opens his mouth? I want to fight. I want to fight sooner. I want to fight more. I want to fight him. I want to fight him. 2 different weight classes. You pick the opponent, get it done quickly. You're not going to give me a fight. Guess what? I'm going to fly out there and I'm going to take the fight if anything happens at Wayne's. That's what I'm going to do. It's a prize fighter that isn't looking for a handout. He's looking for a fight. It's just a very different attitude. I'm just sharing it with you guys. It's very refreshing. It's happening and playing right in front of your face. Volkanovski can play that game right now. Right now, he can go and play that game of I want more money. You got a main event, you got birth, you got a book, you promised the audience. I'm going to take this risk and I'm going to do it. Oh, and by the way, no matter how mad you are at me or what happens in this fight, I'm still the champion of the world, so I'll see you soon. But he didn't try any of those things. Things didn't even cross his mind. Alex was also a co-main event guy. He's not now. He was fighting for world championships. The night that he won the world championship, I was there, and it was a co-main event fight. Just for example. 2 times off the top of my head that I've seen him defend that championship, they were co-main event spots. He was in the top billing versus Zombie. And he may have other main events. That's okay. I'm just sharing with you. He's not talking about I'm ranked number 1 in the world. He's not talking about I'm 14-0 and none of the rest of you are. He's not talking about of the night bonuses that he won. He's not doing any of that stuff. There might be a time when he does, but he will be on top of the bill. He understands how this works. And until then, please get me a match and please get it as soon as you can. It's a very refreshing attitude, and I don't feel like Volk gets credit. I don't think Volk wants credit. I don't think he knows he does that to be different. I don't think he knows that he's doing that to set an example that many guys aren't observing and many guys aren't following. But he is, none the same. He absolutely is. And I really don't feel that MMA is aware of the magnitude and how big Makhachev and Volkanovski is going to be. It is going to be a massive fight. There are going to be records set. Whether that's at the gate, whether that's in merchandising, whatever, any record that can be set, they're all up on the table, which includes pay-per-view. This is a massive match. This is Mike Tyson versus Spinks all over again. And the reason I say that is because Tyson versus Spinks went down as the biggest heavyweight fight of all time at the time that it went down. Those guys weren't great, man. Those guys weren't doing a great job. Social media didn't exist. Facebook wasn't a thing. Twitter wasn't a word. Instagram hadn't been dreamed up. I mean, they were in a very different time and world, and they didn't do a great job of getting the message out that they had anyway, but the pundits loved it so much. We saw what was there. We saw what was there so much. Somebody owes got to go. 2 world champions. Amateurs at the same time. One guy didn't make the Olympic team. One guy brought home an Olympic medal. It was a very interesting match. And we built it, and we did it, and that's what happened, and that's what we're going to do with Volkanovski and Makhachev. As the time comes and this gets closer and this story begins to come out, this is a massive, massive match. And there's different ways to go about your career and to go about your negotiations. And I'm not going to be a jerk and say that I don't want somebody to get more, man. I sure as hell do. I'm on your side of it. I'm going to sit back and observe whether or not you're in a good position to get that. I got to stop. Are you a main event? If you're not the main event, we got to stop. We have other things that need to be done. If you're not the main event, why are you not the main event? How do you become the main event? But that is step number 1. I thought they were. He thought they were as well. It's okay. Where do we go from here?